The NFL draft is in the books. We know where the rookies are going.
Which means we can talk football!
And we're excited to have a reason to talk about football. It's early, obviously. Well, that's why it gives us a reason.
We can talk. May. You're thinking about it. We thought about it after the draft.
So it's excited. So we're talking some running backs in this one.
So what do you want to know after the draft? You want to know who are the rookies that are going to impact your 2019 fantasy football season. So this video, we're talking about those running backs that are going to affect it. And in years past, there seems to be a plethora. I don't know if there's a plethora this year, but we do have 5 that
Funny
we think.
to talk about.
And we're
ranking them as we would think they should go off the board in a redraft league. So we're only talking this year. So where they landed, obviously.
So Dustin, who is the best fantasy running back?
This one's easy. Jacobs with Oakland. They drafted him in the first round. He's going to be their workhorse. And with them adding Antonio Brown, you got to think that offense couldn't get things going a little bit this year. You know, they got Doug Martin out there. They got Richard out there. But Jacobs was drafted to be their every down back. And when you look at his stats in Alabama, they're really not, they're good, but he was in such a heavy timeshare with Damian Harris. They're not, going to go off the charts in terms of what he did. But he did have 20 catches, which you got to like, double-digit touchdowns. And it's just more about the situation. He is going to be asked to do a lot out there with Oakland, and we think he could actually even be a value on draft day, depending on where he ends up going. But we think Oakland's going to be better this year.
All right, our second running back. He was picked 74th. He went to the Bills, and that's Devin Singletary. And you might be thinking that's a little crazy because not a lot of people have him here, and the reason they don't is because, the Bills already have LaShawn McCoy. They signed Frank Gore. They got TJ Yeldon. But the fact of the matter is we do think that his path is a lot cleaner than it might seem. And the reason for that is McCoy, if they cut him, $6.5 million of cap space. And McCoy fell off a cliff last year. He looked absolutely terrible. Considering the Bills got Gore and Yeldon before the draft, drafted Singletary in the draft, it just feels like McCoy isn't going to be on the Bills, I don't feel, for the start of the season. So while we're shooting this in May, it's just something to really keep an eye on. If McCoy goes away, this guy's value is going to jump. We think McCoy's going to go away, so that's why he's there. At Florida Atlantic, he had 22 touchdowns. He looked absolutely incredible. I can't say that Dustin and I watched a ton of those games this year, but looking at his combine stats, looking at his highlights, he is everything that you want out of an NFL running back, especially pairing with a Josh Allen that's going to be doing bootlegs, opening it up. It just seems like this kid fits the scheme they're going to be running. Pretty excited about him.
David Montgomery is next, our third running back who we think should go off the board in terms of rookies. Great situation. That's what it is with him. He landed in Chicago. Jordan Howard is gone. Montgomery in Iowa State, over 1,200 yards last year, averaged about 5 yards per carry, had some catches, 22 catches. And when you look at that depth chart, it's Cohen and Mike Davis. You got to think he was drafted to be the early down guy for them, the goal line guy for them, and then he'll have to battle with Cohen for the catches and third down work and that type of thing. But with Montgomery, it's about his situation. We think the talent is there. He's a very good running back. He didn't really jump off the board for us in terms of the guy we're going to get most excited about talent-wise, but with his situation, we think it's a very solid spot for him to be out there in Chicago.
All right, our number 4 running back is Miles Sanders. He went with the 53rd pick to the Philadelphia Eagles. And as Dustin was talking, left Chicago, well, he came to Philly. So obviously Miles has a little bit of a tougher road because while Howard isn't the greatest running back ever, and Mama Howard, I'm sorry, your boy isn't. He's good at what he does, though. He's good at what he does. He's not great at it. So Miles Sanders is the type, he's a 3-down back, though. So that's what I do like about him because Corey Clement isn't great either. So while I don't think he's going to be the featured back right out of the gates, I could very well see a scenario this year where he is the featured back for a Philadelphia Eagle offense, which is still very high-powered. So he's definitely interesting. Penn State, he looked good. He had only 9 touchdowns, but 5.8 yards per carry. Again, somebody to keep an eye on in your drafts. I'm going to snag him. I think you can get him a little bit later. Due to that, I'm going to be gobbling him up.
The last guy, number 5, Darrell Henderson. Now this guy, his highlight reel is off the charts. Now it was Memphis, so it wasn't necessarily playing the best competition. He went 70th off the board in the draft, but this guy is exciting. He went to the Rams though, so you got Gurley, in front of him. But we all saw Gurley's knee stuff popping up at the end of last year. They're already talking about doing more, rotating in a second running back for the Rams, which only makes sense to try to keep Gurley fresh. Henderson had 214 carries last year, averaged 8.9 yards per carry, he had 22 touchdowns. He had 19 receptions, so he can catch the ball. This guy's a lot of fun. We are very excited about him, and if you draft Gurley, you are drafting Henderson. It's as simple as that, because he could be an RB1 if Gurley goes down. So
he's one of the most important handcuffs this year.
Yes, for sure. So that's the rookie running backs. Make sure to check out all our other videos. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave some comments. Let's start talking about some football. We're getting excited.